Kia ora, and welcome to Sam's Take, a series about entertainment news and reviews with me, Sam Realstone. I'm back after a bit of a hiatus, and now that movies are back on, I'm bringing you my review of Marvel's Eternals. To sum up this movie in one word, it's big. Big cast, big story, big scope, big consequences. Directed by Chloé Zhao, the film follows the Eternals, powerful beings created by the Celestials, bastions that existed before the universe began, to rid the Earth of the evil Deviants. The Eternals have been living on Earth for thousands of years, having separated many years ago, and are now living among humans in the modern day, where they are called together again to fight a common threat. You might remember, we've actually seen the Celestials before in Guardians of the Galaxy as the beings that wielded the Infinity Stones. Okay, so this is a big cast, so let's do a roll call and a power breakdown. Gemma Chan as Cersei, an empathetic individual who can manipulate inanimate matter. Richard Madden as Icarus, a quite tortured fellow who can fly and shoot lasers from his eyes. Salma Hayek as Ajak, the leader and prime Eternal who can heal people. Angelina Jolie as Thena, a mysterious and almost introverted Eternal who can create weapons from cosmic energy. Kumail Nanjiani as Kingo, an Eternal who has disguised himself as a Bollywood star and can shoot cosmic energy from his hands. McHugh as Sprite, an Eternal with the appearance of a child and who can project lifelike illusions. Tyree Henry as Phastos, an inventor, technopath, and the MCU's first gay superhero. Ridloff as McHugh, a speedster and the first deaf superhero in the MCU. Keoghan as Druig, an intense and almost dark individual who can manipulate people's minds. Don Lee as Gilgamesh, the strongest Eternal with his super strength, which is only matched by the strength of his caring nature. And finally, Kit Harington also has a notable supporting role as Dane Whitman, Cersei's love interest, and we'll touch on him a bit later in spoilers. One of the fun things I found about this movie is the way that the Eternals slot into history, having lived on Earth for thousands of years. There's little winks and full nods to actual events in history, and it makes the characters feel a bit more grounded into the world. It's also a very pretty movie. The vibrancy of the colours and the numerous on-location golden hour shots are just wonderful to look at. The aesthetic of the technology and culture, if you will, of the Eternals also feels very unique and is animated beautifully. Same with the fight scenes, particularly the ones that feature speedster Makari. It's definitely the best visualization of real-time super speed I've seen in recent memory. The production value of the film really just makes me think about how much I love watching and taking in movies. I sound like that Keanu Reeves meme.
Gosh, I love movies.
But it's true. The care and the attention to the aesthetic of the film is truly inspiring. As you'd hope with a big ensemble film like this, each of the Eternals has a very distinct personality. Some major standouts for me were Druig and Gilgamesh. Druig is surprisingly sinister and played in a very calculated and unique way, while Gilgamesh is just definitely my favourite best boy and fulfills an archetype that I love. Big dude who hits real hard but has a soft disposition. A gentle giant who takes care of people. Without spoiling anything, I thought the main problem and plot of the film brings up an interesting concept about the narcissism of humans and Earth's survival. And yes, don't worry, there is an adequate reason given for why these overpowered beings didn't help with Thanos and all the other horrible things throughout human history. However, it definitely blitzes through a few of the stories of each character, kind of giving them surface level backstory. I also noticed lots of the same reasoning or type of scene when each of them joined the fight. Though a slightly bloated story that takes a bit to get going, once it does, it's clever and rich with things to think about. Mixed in with some big swings, so kudos to the creators for that. I also have to mention the crisp and intentional sound design. Zhao's direction really shines through, with silence used in a moment towards the end of the film, which really personifies the immensity of what is happening and the power of silence. As with all of the things Marvel is making right now, this film has big consequences, which we'll get into in spoilers. I also had a thought about the Celestials as well. Since they were essentially the first beings to exist, did the TVA from the Disney Plus Loki series exist before them? Who knows? Despite the bloated feel and some glossed over story points and characters, I did actually really enjoy this movie. And, as per with all things Marvel at the moment, it makes me excited for the future. Kevin Feige and his team absolutely have a vision, and I can't wait to see where it goes from here. Both cosmic and grounded stories alike. And of course, all entwined. Now let's get into some spoilers. If you don't want to hear those yet, I'll see you in the next video. There is the revelation that the Eternals were created by the Celestials to breed more Celestials, at the cost of many, many lives as a means to create many, many more. This becomes an endless cycle where the Eternals survive and repeat their actions. This is somewhat in line with the origin of the Eternals in the comics, as they're created by the Celestials to destroy their other creation, the Deviants, as a means of preserving life. And as a result of the end of the film, a number of the Eternals are taken by the celestial Arashim, who says he will return for judgment. That doesn't sound good. Are our future MC heroes going to be fighting Celestials? And what about the multiverse? There's a lot happening. While this is happening, some other Eternals venture into space to break the news of their lineage and purpose to some other Eternals in the cosmos. Thanos is actually an Eternal mutant hybrid, born to Eternals Alaz and Sui-San. He has the Deviant gene, which is the reason he looks the way he does. Speaking of Thanos, in the first post-credit scene we see Harry Styles is in this movie, playing Eros, the brother of Thanos. He seemingly has a connection to another Celestial and is going to help locate those taken by Arishem. Eros, or Star Fox, is an Eternal who in the comics has been a member of the Avengers and other such teams. He possesses similar powers to that of Druig in the film, being able to manipulate people's emotions and connect with them to persuade them. He's also written to lead a pretty hedonistic lifestyle in search of romance and adventure, and being quite a womanizer in his time. It'll be interesting to see how he is implemented in the future of the MCU and how much of his romantic personality will shine through. Cersei's love interest Dane Whitman also has a post-credit scene where he reveals the ebony blade sword, the weapon of his ancestors the Black Knight. Yep, he's descended from the medieval Black Knight.
Just a flesh wound.
This original Black Knight's blade then fell to the second Black Knight who used it for evil before it fell to his nephew, Dane. In the comics he's basically just really good at sword stuff, and the sword is magical, so there's some extra stuff there too. That's it for this review. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time for more entertainment news and reviews.